Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to Girls vs. Ghosts Radio. Welcome to the Dr. Gina Show. Dr. Gina is a health and wellness advocate with a doctorate in occupational therapy. She graduated from NYU with a degree in psychology at Jefferson University and earned her doctorate at Temple University, as well as she holds many certifications in nutrition, personal training, child yoga. Gina now works in early intervention, specializing in children with autism. Gina is an animal lover. She supports many rescue organizations and enjoys advocating for animal rights. Join Dr. Gina as she takes you on a journey to live your best life now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dr. Gina Show. Thank you for tuning in, and if you're listening to the pre-recorded version, thank you for listening to that as well. Tonight is going to be a special show. I'm going to talk mainly about children, raising children, typically developing children, and children with abilities, and children with diagnosis, which could stem anywhere from sensory processing disorder to autism. So I'm going to cover a lot of different areas of children and talk about children as they go into adults with these special abilities. I want to thank my producer, Charla, who, of course, is taking phone calls tonight and taking care of this whole show. She's the best. We can be followed on Girls vs. Ghosts Media on Instagram, as well as Facebook and Twitter. You can find me at Psychic Medium Dr. Gina on Instagram. I'm on Twitter at Gina, FitPlus11, and Jean Marie on Facebook. I also want to thank Heather. So if you're following me on social media, you can see all the amazing social media banners that she puts out and little videos, and she creates the most amazing banners. So thank you, Heather. You're listening. I'm pretty sure you're listening. I also want to talk about our little Girls vs. Ghosts family. We have many different shows. So if you follow Girls vs. Ghosts Media, you can find all the different shows and the times that they air. So if you're first time listening to my show, just to give you a background, on my show I talk about basically your higher self. So what this show will do is it helps guide you on a journey to help awaken your soul. Because when we're born, we all come here with, like I like to say, soul amnesia. And one of the reasons we come here is to not remember so that we can remember and play this game of life. So in this game of life, we have many tests that we're given. And the tests that we're given are things that we decided to do before we came here. We signed up for these tests to pass them so that we could advance our soul. So that's why we can't remember, because if we did remember, the whole game would not fun, but it wouldn't be challenging. So that's why we come here with soul amnesia, as I like to call it. So tonight we're going to be talking about a little bit about children and how they come here with soul amnesia, and then how they start to wake up. I also want to talk about tonight some of people like to call it some of the psychic ability. They're called clairs. So some of the most common clairs are clairvoyance, which is clair seeing, or clair knowing is claircognizance, clair essence is clair feeling, clair audience is hearing. So people say some of the children that are born come with seeing, so some of them come knowing, or some of them have a combination. But usually they have at least one of those clairs. And again, sometimes they can have all of them, or they can cluster together. So we're going to talk about that as well. Okay, so I am going to start with what I like to call And I do work, I also have a doctorate degree in occupational therapy, so I do and have worked with children for over 10 years. And I work with children from children with sensory processing disorder up until very high autism and on the whole spectrum of autism. And I have worked with them. I've worked in Children's Hospital. I've worked in children in group homes. I've worked in children in hospitals, homes. I've worked in shelters. I've worked in every area with children. So I'm going to be adding a lot of non-psychic information in as well. So again, if you have been listening to me, you understand that I do channel. I channel spirit. So spirit will, of course, be helping me when I do this and I go into channel. And sometimes if you're one of my clients, you'll know when I'm channeling or when regular Dr. Gina is talking. But it's going to be a combination of channeling and then me coming in and out and listening as well. So get ready for a little bit of both. So let's first talk about when early intervention. That's where I work now as an occupational therapist. And that's when we most have children that become what we call diagnosed, because parents will start to recognize maybe their child isn't walking right away, or, they think, even if they're a first-time mom, another mom will say, oh, maybe your child should be crawling, and they're like, okay, well, maybe he's a slow starter. And one of the big things is if your children are not talking yet. That's what really kind of gives mom a clue. She's like, well, maybe I need to ask my pediatrician. They're looking for developmental milestones, something that says, my child should be crawling at this time. My child's not crawling. My child should be talking at this time. My child's not talking. So that's usually one of the first tip-offs that brings the child in to see their pediatrician. And once they're with their pediatrician and they're discussing what's going on with their child, sometimes the children will get a diagnosis, and this is when they are then referred to us in early intervention. So they could have a diagnosis that says autism, but usually that isn't more or less diagnosed till 1.5 or 2. And this type of diagnosis could be devastating for parents. They find out, my child has autism. Some parents don't even understand what autism is. And again, autism is a spectrum. So it could be for a child that has mild autism, it could be as far as like a high sensory dysfunction, or a child that has severe autism, which could be the child does not speak and they have severe difficulties in attending. So the children having this diagnosis of autism could range on the spectrum from very low to very high. But it is very devastating for a parent to hear my child has autism. And it is definitely one of the reasons having this diagnosis is so hard for a parent, because when most parents have a child or are pregnant, they're getting ready to have their child, they have, they usually have their name picked out, and then they have all these preconceived notions in their head what they want their children to do. Like maybe dad went and played football at a certain college and they're having a boy, and, the family and dad already say, oh, he's going to be a football player like his dad, or he's going to be, an architect like his dad. So before the child's even born, the parents already have like what the child's going to do. They're buying, like, maybe the room has football pictures on it, or maybe the room has basketball, soccer, whatever the parent feels maybe is hereditary from one of the parents or something that they want their child to be. So before the baby's born, this poor child already is going to be thrown into society and already has these preconceived notions on what this child is going to be like. And then they say, oh, I wonder if he's going to have eyes like your mother. Oh, I wonder if, he's going to be tall like your father. He's going to be short. So they're already thinking about the characteristics and everything before the child's even born. And then you definitely hear this a lot. Oh, I just want people say, well, do you want a boy or girl? And parents will say, I just want my child to be a healthy child. Well, when you're born with autism, sometimes by looking at a child that has autism, again, depending on where they fall on the spectrum, you would not even be able to tell that the child has autism, which is a blessing and a curse, because not being able to tell sometimes when they're maybe exhibiting behaviors that are not typical, people have a hard time understanding because they seem to look, typical. Whereas, and again, if you're having this child with, and you won't know that they have autism again until a year and a half, at least 2 years until they're born. Whereas if you have a child with some, like Down syndrome, for example, there will be a test which will be able to tell before, so your parents are kind of expecting, what they're having, or they have an option whether they'll continue with that. But when your child has autism, there is no test, there's no option. It's kind of like a surprise, and a surprise that you don't get again until your child is at 1.5 years. So by the time you have this beautiful baby, you're looking at your baby is completely beautiful. Thank God, you're saying my child is healthy, my child is beautiful. And again, most parents are raising their child like a typical developing child. They're saying, he's playing football and they're getting him all the toys, or he's going to be an architect, he's going to be this, he's going to go to this college, and the child's not even 1. So then it's even more devastating because the parents already have this child built up, and then he becomes 1.5 or 2. And I keep saying he. And typically, most children diagnosed with autism are boys. That is what the research shows. It's like 3 to 1. Most of them are boys, and there has been no real reason to show why they are mostly boys, but they have been. So then you have your child, and you take him to the pediatrician because, again, he might not be crawling or walking, and then you get this diagnosis. And the family most families, I can't say all because I've had a lot of very accepting families, but most families, they get really like, oh my God, like my child has this autism. They think this is like so horrible. And a lot of times there's different types of autism again, or there could be different sensory disorders. And there could be a sensory disorder which is called sensory seeking. So if the child falls on sensory seeking, this child will actually seek stimulation. So this could be the child wants to hug you real tight or wants to crash into the wall. Again, this ranges so differently. The sensory stimulation that they could seek could be where they might actually have to wear a helmet because this child seeks so much stimulation that he or she bangs his head on the floor or the wall. So they would actually have to wear a helmet to stop this. But sensory stimulation could be that severe, or it could be very low, where they're just like maybe they suck their thumb, or they have they bite on their lip. It ranges anywhere. Again, it's a spectrum, so it can go anywhere on that spectrum. And then there's also the child that's called a sensory avoider. Now, the sensory avoider child will actually run from any type of stimulation. So if you hear like a fire engine, especially in New York, it's hard for children if they have this, and there is a fire engine or there's a loud construction noise. This is like torture for some children. They hear the loud noise and it sends their sensory system goes in overload. They hold their ears, they scream, they could cry, they could go hide. This is a torture for some children. Some children who are also sensory avoiders, the thought of taking a bath seems like it's just like hell for them. This always reminds me of a story back when I was a teenager. I was never a babysitter. I think maybe I babysat 1 or 2 times with my neighbor's son, and I remember just like falling asleep, and I thought I should babysit because everyone else does, but it's never been my thing. I was not that babysitter. I think I did it twice in my life, but my girlfriend would babysit, and my one girlfriend was babysitting this one boy, and I remember we were kids, like 14, 15, and I would go hang out while she was babysitting. And when it was time for this boy, he must have been 4 or 5, to take a bath, I remember him screaming and here we are, teenagers. I remember it was a joke on, oh my God, it's called bath time. And, I forget his name, but we'll call him TJ. He's going to scream his head off. But, now I understand what it was with sensory dysfunction. But at that time, I don't even know if the parents knew, but it was just torture. He was screaming. It was like, I can't, as a teenager, I still recall this because it was so insane. So something like that, bath time, could set a child off, like, tremendously. Or getting a haircut would be just hell for a child. Just going in that chair, getting their hair cut. Sometimes parents just wait for them to go to sleep and just grab scissors and cut a little bit here and there. Even I know that some of my children here, they go to special barbers where, they have like TV on, any type of distraction so that the child will be able to get their hair cut. I would recommend, yes, if your child go to sleep and you can grab some of that hair and cut it if this is a problem. But there are, again, some of the hair shops for children that can work around this. And then their sensory system gets used to it because, again, they have different televisions that they can watch and there's stuffed animals. So their sensory system is being fed in different ways, which helps the haircut for them. But probably 5 years ago, they didn't have something like that. So we are catching on that there are children that do have these sensory disorders, and we are all, as a society, starting to understand this and not look at them as different, but help find ways to make them fit in, help them adjust to their sensory system and not be so judgmental as we were just as short as, like I said, 5 years ago. But we are becoming more aware of this, and that comes to a big question. And again, I have a doctorate degree, and I specialized in sensory dysfunction. And I remember being a student, and I decided to get, my doctorate degree specializing in sensory disorder. And the research, because, we are always doing research papers, and I would look, and we were trying to find out the research, but this is one of those theories, just like there's a lot of theories that are tested that can be proven, with research and statistics. But sensory disorder, sensory dysfunction is one of those theories that cannot be proven. And as well as the fact that up until now, and there's been so much money, so much testing put into why is it that there's so much more of children who are diagnosed now with this autism as a diagnosis. And I, as a student, I remember in my doctorate degree, I was just looking and trying to find why is it, why, what is it? Is it diet? And everyone has these speculations about vaccines and everything like that. And again, it hasn't really been proven what it is. There could be guesswork. But since then, and again, as I am a channel and I talk to spirit, and as well as that, there's Dolores Cannon. She has done some research, and I listened to some of her stuff. And what I channeled and heard goes a lot along with what Dolores Cannon says. Now, mind you, there are lots of books. Obviously, there's so much out there on autism now that can help you. But I just want to tell you, and I'm going to channel again when I answer this question, but I'm going to give you a little insight on what I feel. And you'll have your own opinion, of course. But as I said, as being a researcher in this field, as working with children with this diagnosis for 10 plus years, and hearing and seeing how much more children are getting diagnosed with. And as I talk to spirit, this is what I hear. So here it goes. So the prevalence of autism is showing so much more now. And people here say, okay, well, it's because, we're showing much more autism now because we're documenting it. And we haven't documented it before. Autism didn't have a name 10 or 15 years ago. That's why. But that, although is some truth, yes, we are documenting more. But the reality of the fact is, as we come here, with our soul amnesia, and we're here to all learn what it is we need to learn. This time in the world right now, there's a big shift, a big change. If you're born now, I'd say if you become 20 years old in the last 10 years, so you're like 30-something now, we're all in that range here, the 30-somethings, where this is the wave of people that come here to make a change. There's a huge change coming on with some of the adults now that are anywhere from their late 20s to 30s, and they're making this change in the world. So then you look at the new kids, and let's go with the people that are like 40 to 60. That there are people who started awakening. That group started coming here to awaken society, to get them ready for the new wave here, the 30, 40-something-year-olds that are actually here to do the work, that are bringing this awakening to people that are talking about it more. 20 years ago, the group that came and were talking about this, people still was like, voodoo. But now, the generation that's speaking about it now, people are more accepting. So that's two generations that came. But what's up with this new generation? These kids that are coming, these kids that have all these diagnoses that go anywhere from sensory dysfunction, ADD, ADHD. Why is this so much more prevalent now? Well, it's because it's the new generation that's coming. These souls came here because they want to shake up society. They're here to make a change. They're here to teach everybody a lesson. These children who everyone says, oh, that poor child has autism. Oh, what a shame. That's not a shame for that child. That soul chose that. Just look at that child. That child seems to be frustrated, you might say, but no. That child is living in the world that child chose, and that child is here to teach everybody a lesson. That's why there's much more prevalence of autism, because there needs to be lessons taught, not only from what the child chose to come here, but they came here to awaken society. So don't feel sorry for that child that has autism, because they're here to not only do what their mission is, but to help the other people around them, to show them unconditional love. Because, yes, when you have a child with autism, you may not get as a parent what you want from that child, because what you wanted when that child was born or being born, you wanted this doctor, you wanted this football player, this dancer, and now that child is not going to be everything you wanted. So that child's here to teach you something. That child's teaching you to accept and love for what someone can't give back, because that child is not going to grow up and take care of their parents with autism. That child is not going to be able to give the love that some people are. And again, this is all different forms of autism, but some, depending on the severity of it. So that parent, that child, and the people that come in contact with that child, again, there's much more coming into this world now, is here to teach a lesson. So that's what the prevalence is. It's society that is changing. It's the birth. It's the souls that are coming here to wake up society. Research is not going to be able to show that. And that's why it's not the vaccine. It's not the food you ate. That's why we can't find the research on it. It's what is being born now because of the way society is going. So we have all different areas of autism, ADHD, and things like that. And what does society want to do? We want to put them on medication to make them follow the norm, to make them go by the rules. But no, because if we have enough children here with all these crazy diagnoses, we're going to understand that schools, which are and run like prisons, and just let me tell you, just come out in for a second to let you know that me, Dr. Gina, I'm not channeling right now, but I worked in a school, and I really believe, again, that my purpose, as you know, if you're listening to me, was to put me through so many things so that not only could I talk to you about this as I channel psychically, but the fact that I've worked in the Philadelphia school system for a few years, and I've worked in the New York school systems for 8 years. I worked in special ed, which is District 75 in New York, and I worked in general education. And I remember, and I've worked in prisons as a therapist. And the comparison to me between the prisons and the COs, I used to say, was the school system. The principals are the wardens, the teachers are the COs, And that's how it's run. So these special children who are getting thrown out of school, who are getting yelled at and screamed at, and they're getting pushed down or medicated because they're running a prison system. So it's coming around a little bit. There has been some progress. But I just remember as a therapist, and I was the occupational therapist, and I worked with children who were, quote, unquote, problems, ADHD, and those were the kids I had, and again, mostly boys. And I remember they used to come to my therapy room, and, occupational therapy, the therapist that wanted me to sit there and draw with them or write with them or practice their handwriting or something that I was just like, oh, hell no, and that's not what I'm doing. We're going to do, we would have fun. We did, game shows, and we did modeling events, and we did, really cool, fun things that helped the child. And I remember, all the kids wanted to come down to the occupational therapy room with me and my partner that used to work there with me, and we just would have fun with the kids. And I remember the kids telling me, Gina, because I didn't make them call me Mrs. Whatever, they call me Gina. Gina, so-and-so, the speech therapist wants to know what you're doing. Why do we always want to come down here? They're always talking about you. The kids would tell me they were talking about me doing, whatever, because I was doing what I was doing to help the kids. I wasn't going to conform to being a CO. I understood what the kids needed, and I knew how to work with them, and they wanted to come to occupational therapy because I helped them. I helped them learn in different ways instead of making them follow rules that they couldn't follow, and not because these children were not smart. That was totally not it, and I was in middle school at this school, but they couldn't conform to the rules of society, the rules that this prison of a school system put on them. They needed to have more freedom. They needed to have ability to think on their own, to not be constrained to things that hurt their sensory system, that hurt their soul, things that went against it. And what happens to a lot of these children is, they fall behind, or, they quit, or they drop out of school. And again, I worked in New York City. I worked in Harlem. I worked in the Bronx. I've worked in a lot of areas where the children had practically no chance because let's put some behavior child from the Bronx that might have lived in a shelter, or their families aren't able to really, watch over them because they have many other kids. These children don't have a chance, and the system is killing these children, and I've seen it. And I, again, believe that God put me through this and had me in the school system, and if you all know me, I talk about it all the time. And then when the principals decided they started running the school, and all of a sudden they became my boss, and they weren't part of the medical system, I ran against trouble, and one thing led to another, and I didn't have my job at the school at 8 years because I was not going to conform to society. And when it became the principal who was my boss after I was there for 8 years, I was like, oh no, because now she wants to tell me to do the handwriting and do all the things that doesn't help the kid, because I don't want to have a middle school kid sit there and do handwriting. I can help them in other ways. And so that was the end of my career at that school. But while I was there, I did make a difference. And I still see some of the kids in New York now, and they'll actually stop me 5 years later and just say, oh, you made such a difference. You were my occupational therapist. But the school systems really do need to change. And if you have the means as a parent and you are able to put your child in a private school, a school that is more advanced, by all means, because when you're following the rules of these schools that are run by the system, the government, or anything like this, it's too constricting for children with this special abilities, or children that come here to make a difference, not come here to conform to society. And I was one of those children. I know for sure I was one of those really bad kids that was in trouble all the time, but I was very, very smart. I was in National Honor Society all through school, but my behavior was so bad I was never allowed to participate in the activities of National Honor Society. So I know what it's like to be one of those kids. But, again, thank God I was smart and I didn't have to study. I didn't have to sit the class. I could leave or do whatever, and I would still pass the test. But there are children that have a different type of ability that have a hard time just taking that test, because sitting for that test for such a long period of time, they are not able to do it. So they fall behind because they're not able to regulate their sensory system to sit there for that long a time to fill in little bubbles. It's just the system, again, needs to change for these children. The children should not have to change to conform to the system, but yet the system needs to change to conform to these children. So you're not going to find this, again, for research, or why you're going to find why these children have this. And I see it all the time, and I've sat in many IFSP and IEP meetings where we come together with the whole team, and we sit there, and I never see it to fail because I worked in every grade, and the children get around third grade, I'd say, and what comes up all the time from the psychologist, well, maybe you want to think about putting your children on some type of medication. And, a lot of parents will say no, but there are a lot of overwhelmed parents, a lot of parents who feel like they have no other choice. And if I put my child on this medication, they're going to sit still, they're going to conform, and they're going to pay attention. And, a lot of parents do opt that route and put their children, I almost call it like giving them little frontal lobotomies, like just taking their little personalities, right, their little souls, and torturing them. It's, for me, I'm 100% against it. I know that could be controversial, but I don't believe in it. I believe in finding what works with the child. Don't say what is your child going to do to fit into my school? What are you going to do to help my child fit into the school? It shouldn't be the other way around. Children all have different abilities, and they need to grow and go with their abilities. And the school of the future needs to work on that. We don't have to all be the same cookie-cutter child that we're putting out, especially because, yes, we are seeing this influx of children born that are going to go against the society rules. That's why they're here. So we need to, as a society, grow and change with these children. And there's many milestones or, things that are diagnosed that we want to go over with the children. So some children, again, some of their tactile, their senses, their touching, so that could be off. They have sensory, if they touch, sometimes their hands become weak, or they're not able to hold a pen or a pencil because they have tactile dysfunction. They have it actually hurts them to hold something or hold an object for a long period of time, and that would cause delays. They have this in their feet and their hands as well, which would cause delays in crawling because that's all tactile. So a child that has a hard time crawling has a problem with that sensory dysfunction. So you have to know that, my child's not crawling. Like, I hear the craziest thing from parents. My child's not crawling. He's not strong enough. Oh, my child's not crawling. Like, is he cognitively, mentally impaired? Like, no, it could be as simple as the fact that he has sensory dysfunction and tactile. It's hard for him to touch or crawl. It could be that simple as far as the fact that he's not crawling, but parents, again, they go to the extreme. So just know that if your child is not crawling, don't go to the farthest extreme. It could be as simply as tactile. So that just means like having sensory dysfunction. So just working on the hands, giving them massages, putting them in different types of textures and rice and beans. And again, with the feet, rubbing the feet, just desensitizing that so that the child can crawl because they have a sensory aversion. So don't jump to the worst conclusions. It could be something that simple. It's best, of course, if you can, to find a good occupational therapist that can help you diagnose this to see exactly what it is, because some of the pediatricians as well, they'll just say, okay, he or she hasn't met their developmental milestone. They're not crawling, but you need a really good occupational therapist to be able to say, okay, this is a sensory dysfunction. Let's work on this. And that will, in turn, help he or she crawl. And there are also a lot of other things that could go along with this sensory dysfunction. It could be something in the vestibular, which the child has problem with, like balance and movement. So that would be just desensitizing the vestibular system, which could be as simple as bouncing them on a ball, turning them upside down, just really challenging their vestibular system, because some children have very poor vestibular system, and this could cause the child having a hard time to actually, after children crawl, they'll start pulling up. But if they have poor vestibular, poor balance, they're going to be afraid to actually pull up on the sofa before they start to cruise along the sofa or furniture because of their vestibular system. So this, again, is something that you would get through therapy. So we work on the vestibular system by, just, again, piggyback rides or, giving them just a little trampoline. In New York, it's really small. And I always tell my parents, I say the one thing, if you're going to get your child one thing, and this is for a child that has sensory dysfunction and they have, tactile or vestibular or proprioceptive input, if any of those are going wrong for your child, I completely say the one thing you need is just this baby trampoline. Parents will say, oh, well, there's no room, whatever, or, oh, I don't know about the trampoline. And the parents that do listen to me, and they get this one thing, this little baby trampoline for a child that could be sensory disorder, ADD, ADHD, whatever, they're diagnosed with autism. You get this trampoline for a child. It is heaven. I've had so many children from mild on the autistic spectrum to severe. You give them this trampoline, it calms them. It teaches them vestibular input, proprioceptive input. It calms their senses, and they love it. Plus, it strengthens them. It makes them tired, so they'll take a nap now. But it's just the best little thing you get is this baby trampoline. And then my second favorite thing that I like to get, and I tell my parents, just get this baby trampoline, and then you could get an exercise ball, the ones that even adults have them, but they have them in children's sizes. You get that, you can put the ball on top of the trampoline, make some room. And with the ball, again, that could be so many things. You're teaching them, again, balance and movement. You're feeding their proprioceptive system by bouncing them, by giving them this input, by giving them reflexes, protective reflexes. So some children who do have this sensory dysfunction, and again, with tactile, if they fall, they're not going to put their hands in front because they have a hard time with this proprioceptive input. So by giving them this ball and this input, that's helping their whole system. And any time that this parent has used this ball or the trampoline, I'm telling you, they're just amazed. They're like, I can't even believe how much progress it makes. And if your child, again, has a speech delay and parents are like, oh, my God, my child's not talking, I'll tell you, and I see it as a therapist again and again, a huge reason why these children aren't talking is because of sensory dysfunction. For sure. It could be they're a sensory avoider or a seeker. Even the trampoline helps that. It awakens all the sensory system up. So if you need anything, you get those two little pieces of equipment, and it will make a world of difference. And if you have an older child, let's say, you have room if you're not in New York City, and you actually have a yard, you can get one of those really big, awesome trampolines. And you have a child that, may be diagnosed with autism, ADD, you get one of those for your backyard. You're working on so many of these systems for this child that it is heaven. Just remember, those are the best things you can get. So there's so much, and I could go over with this and this topic. I just probably touched on a little bit, but if you're following my show, just know that I will continue to talk about this. Again, some of the show is channeled, so when I'm talking about different things, I'm talking to spirit. And again, being a therapist myself, I'm also talking from my years in school and my years working as a therapist. So it's a little combination of both. So kind of like a spiritual doctor kind of combination thing. So, and anyone that knows this show knows that I take callers, and the call-in number is 646-668-8490. So I don't have that much time, so I take a maximum of 5 callers. And I'm pretty sure I have some callers on the line, but everyone seems to like my universal reading, because if you don't get a chance to call in, I will give you a universal reading. So what I do is I use the tarot cards, and the Rider-Waite deck is what I'm going to use, and I just pull a few cards. If this message happens to resonate with you, it's because you were meant to hear it, and this is for you. So I'm pulling 5 cards right now, and then I'm going to interpret the message for anyone that may be listening, okay? And again, this message will be channeled, so this is directly from the council. Love the council to you. So your life is about to change. You're about to have the things that you want. You're going to feel like you're finally coming into who you are. It's kind of like, wow, like my world is coming together. I see it's like the eye of the eagle. Like you are focused, you've been focused, you know what it is you want, and you're going to get it. You are also like, you're also going to be like recognized. So you're going to be in the spotlight, whatever this is. People are going to look at you and look for you. You're almost like celebrated. It's going to be a complete change of your whole old life. Your old life is almost falling apart. It's like the end of your old life, and you're coming into something new. And this is also a relationship. The relationship, once that happens, you will go right into this relationship that you've always wanted. This is a love interest, a love relationship. This is a very strong person, and you're going to be mated up with this person. It's almost like a reconciliation. So I feel like this energy, this person has been with you before, and you will come together and you will decide that you want to be together again, and you'll work things out. So I hope whoever listened to this got this message. It was for them. And I'm going to start with caller 1 of 5. So we'll get caller 1 on the line.
Sage, you are live on the air with Dr. Gina.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, Sage. Thank you for calling in the show. I very much appreciate all my callers. Thank you so much. So what the questions not only help the callers, but they help everyone. So if you get enough nerve to call in, I want to thank you all. So what do you got tonight, Sage?
Okay. So you know, the guy like I've been going back and forth with, and
yeah.
I think the last time I talked to you about him, I had sent him that text that you wanted me to send. Like it was all or nothing, like, and so I sent it, and the past, like, 2 weeks, I've been hearing from him literally all day, like, nonstop, every single day. So, like, I just want to know, like, do you think anything changed or?
All right, I'm going to channel this, but I just want to tell the callers to catch them up on this. Like, Sage had a problem with this guy that used to be in her life, and then he wanted to come back in her life, but he was coming back, like, half-assed. He wasn't giving her everything she wanted. And the message I got from Spirit, and this is a message just universally, like if you want more from this person and they're taking advantage of you and just giving you like pieces of them and you want more, and you need to let them know and say like you're not going to get pieces of me unless you get the whole package. And that's pretty much passing your test, like hashtag pass your test. This is something that you did and you've got a change. But I'm going to talk to Spirit to see what, because they're going to go in and they're going to look. So hold on. Sage, just say your first name and spell it out loud to give Spirit permission.
Sage, S-A-I-G-E.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so by you giving him that fear, you scared him. You gave him a fear. So he is saying, I'm going to lose her. I have to call. I have to make sure she's still there. Is she still there? She's still there, because he doesn't want to lose you from his life. There's no possible way. He wants to keep you there. But the thing is, he's kind of keeping you in the freezer. He's like, but I'm not ready to be with her. I don't want anyone else to be with her. I want to know that she still wants me. I want to make sure she's still there. But like, I'm still doing my growing up over here. I'm still kind of messing around, not ready to actually be with her because I'm not ready to be all grown up yet. so I'm going to kind of mess around over here, but the last thing I need to do is let her go. So he's keeping an eye on you to make sure you're still there. He's reaching out. Okay, she's still there. Oh, I better call her. He's getting afraid that you're still going to be there. But the thing is, nothing has changed. He's still in the same situation that you do not approve of. You know, he's still engaging with this other person. He still has this person in his life. So that's not changing. What is changing is him getting more nervous that he's going to lose you. So he's kind of testing. So yes, it's good that he's calling you, he's reaching out, but no, he's still not giving you what you want. So you must restate what it is that you need and want, and tell this person again that this is what I need and want. And yes, I'd like you as a friend. I care about you. I want to be with you. But this is not fair for me to keep giving to you when you're not giving me what it is I want. So you must restate what it is you want, because pretty soon it's going to fall back to just, okay, she's there. It's going to go back to exactly how it was, because nothing changes until you change it, you see?
Mhm.
So is that the same? Has his situation changed, or is it still the same?
His situation hasn't changed.
Right. So what has changed?
But now,
is his attention, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's more attention, right?
The one thing I've noticed is he'll talk to me more, like, even when he's home, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, no, it does, because he doesn't want to. You gave him the fear of losing you, but you didn't. You got it. You got to say again. You got to restate. Say it's great talking to you and everything. I really hate to lose this, but I have too much feelings, and if I keep this door open for you, there's no space to let somebody else in that gives me what I want, because that is true. If you keep your attention focused on somebody, you're not going to meet somebody else. There's no possible way. Your energy is focused on this one person, and tell him that. Even if you sound like a weirdo, spiritual idiot, but it's the truth. It's God's honest truth, and everybody that knows it or does have as long as your heart is full with someone else, it doesn't matter. You're never going to meet someone who you feel is better than until you let go of that person. And I think I just posted this on one of my social medias, but if you let go of that person, you're either going to get him back the way you want him or somebody better. But if you continue to keep the person in your heart the way he is, you're not getting him back the way you want it or anything better.
Okay. So just resend that previous text.
Well, so that restate what it is you want and what you would love from him, but what he's not going to get if he doesn't do it.
Okay.
He needs a restatement. Right. Okay?
He needs a reminder.
Yes. He needs another note.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Sage. Thanks for calling in. Keep me updated. All right, I'm going to take caller number 2.
Hi, Janine. You're live on the air with Dr. Gina.
Hi.
Hi, Janine. Hi.
How are you?
Hello. Okay, Janine.
I'm just calling because I have a lot of concerns about my daughter. We've been trying for the independent school for like 3 years. And every time we, the decision day come, we get put on the waiting list. And I am wondering if I'm coming an overbearing mom, wanting this independent school. And I'm wondering if, I know the next step is to, that she'll have to take a bunch of exams and all this other stuff to get in. And I'm concerned that, am I going to stress her out? Will she ever get there? If that's my dream, is that not the dream for her? Those are things that I'm concerning myself about her.
How old is she?
6.
6, I mean. Okay, so Janine, I just want you to say Jennifer or Janine. Janine?
I'm Janine.
Janine. Yes, Janine. Just say your first name and spell it out loud, because I'm going to do a little channeling and then I'm going to be a little me. So just give Spirit permission. Say your first name and spell it out loud.
Janine.
Okay. So I'm going to ask the counsel for this, but I'm also going to come in as Dr. Gina and talk a little. So hold on for a second. So you're a really good mother. So it's not a combination. It's a combination of you're very much letting your daughter guide you, but you're also guiding her. So don't be too hard on yourself, because you are listening to your daughter. You are helping her. You're not trying to make her be something that you want her to be. You're letting her be who she is, but you're guiding her as the adult to be the best she can be. And yes, you are keep being put back on this waiting list because the time is not right. Spirit moves when the time is right. Opportunity happens and opens when the right opportunity comes. It hasn't happened because they're still learning that you're both going through now. So this is a learning phase. So don't get worried on the rush of what's happening and what's next. Stay on the path. Keep doing what it is that you feel and your daughter wants, and the right school, the right place will open for her, because she is guiding you, but you're guiding her. You're working together as an amazing parent should, because this does not happen all the time, but you're actually listening to your daughter. And that's what you need to do as a mother with a child with special abilities and special, like your daughter has. She has special things that she needs, but you're listening to her. You're letting her guide you. And she knows what she wants, and you as an adult can help guide her towards that. The rest, that you're kind of up against the wall because, yes, you're trying to get this independent school, and there's always a reason this person's next, this person knows this person, you're always getting pushed back for where it is. But in the meantime, you as a parent are being the best parent you can by still being on top of that and not giving up, and the right avenue will open for her. But where she is now, you as a parent are doing the most you can. I do like the fact that you might be able to, is there something with music with her? Does she like music?
She's playing the cello right now. Yeah.
Okay. Spirits tell me something about music for her. So they're telling me to make sure you continue to foster that with her, because this really brings her to into herself. It gives her whole function what she needs. So just keep, fostering what it is she wants, and the right opportunity is going to present itself for you. There's no need to stress. You're doing everything right, and it will happen in the right time. Okay? Does that answer your question? Does that help you?
It does. Yes, it does.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, and continue to follow me. I'll talk about children again. So thank you so much. Thank you for calling in. Bye. All right, I'm going to take caller number 3.
Jennifer, you are live on the air with Dr. Gina.
Hello,
Hi, Gina.
Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate everyone that participates, so thank you so much. And your question, again, if my topic is on one thing, your question doesn't have to be about that. So for anyone that's out there, just know that. So what do you have for me tonight? What's your question?
My question is, I guess similar to Paige, who I called regarding what's that called? Someone that I've been talking to. I've been on vacation, so I kind of felt like he was a little distant. I just wanted to know what he's thinking, and where do I go from here? Do I continue and just keep on messaging him?
Okay, just spell it out loud, and I'm going to channel this answer for you.
Okay, Jennifer, Jennifer.
Okay, so let me just get this answer. So hold on. So he is, this is your own self-esteem that thinks this. And we hate when you question this, because this guy really likes you, really attracted to you, really loves hanging out with you, thinks about you. It's just that he has things going on in his life, and he's trying to plan things and get things together. But he is very into you. You're the only one who thinks, oh, is he not? But he is. So, you get nervous, and sometimes you send a stupid text message that sounds really dumb because you're just getting nervous. But the fact is, just be confident when you're sending it. Just know that he wants to hang out with you. This guy likes you. He wants to be with you. Again, we always tell you this. Look in the mirror. Look at who you are. Understand who you are. And just realize that any text message you send him, he's going to answer it. As long as you don't send it with shaky hands. You send it with confidence and say what it is. Hey, how are you? What's going on? You want to hang out tonight? And he's going to say yes. he's still in the same thing. You know, what you think is like, oh, you know, he's not around, he's not giving me this attention, he's not that, but he is. It's just that he has a bunch of other things he's doing. But when he thinks about hanging out or being with a woman, it's you. He likes you. He wants to be with you.
Okay. So even if I send a stupid text, it's not like what he's like, what the hell?
Like, you know, the spirit is saying, like, sometimes you send that. So, like, as me, because I'm not in channel right now. But, I mean, you know, sometimes I know what they're saying. Spirit's saying, like, sometimes you'll send a text, like, all nervous. Like, you'll send a text, like, well, if you want to, and, like, it's up to you. And no, send it with confidence. Like, this is what I want to do, and this is it. Send it straight. Don't give him so many options. It's up to you and how you feel and da-da. And did you answer and you didn't? You know what I mean? Just send it with confidence. Like, hey, you want to hang out? You want to get some food, or, you know, you want to come watch a movie? Just say what it is you want to say. There's nothing to lose because he wants to hang out with you. So you send it with confidence. Oh, don't think I can't text him because he texted me last. That is so crazy. I don't deal with that. That is bullshit. Like, text him when you want to. It doesn't matter. There's nothing to lose if he doesn't text you. But who cares? Like, do what you feel. That's it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Does that answer your question at all? Does that help you?
It does. Like, I feel like I always, like, ask you the same question and to get reassurance.
But that's okay. You know what? Because I ask the same question over and over again. It's because me, yes, I'm a psychic, but, you know, I have my psychic friends that I call that I ask, not lately, you know, I've grown a lot, but I was in that point at times where I called. And what about this? It's, oh, my God, I need this. But, you know, as the more I talk to spirit and client, I just, like, I know whatever's meant to be is coming, and if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. And there's no ego. Just let go of the ego. That's it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right.
Okay. See you soon.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right. I'm going to take caller number 4.
Hi, Rena. You are live on the air with Dr. Gina.
Oh. Hello.
Hi, Rena. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for calling. And I just want you to say your first name, Rena. Spell it out loud. Give spirit permission.
My name is Rena, R-I-N-A.
Okay, Rena. And what question do you have tonight?
Well, it's about work, which I feel like I'm being redundant, so I'm going to try and change it up a little bit. I want to know if there's anything that I could be doing better while I'm sort of waiting to hear back from. And I mean, I guess that's it.
Okay, hold on for a second. It's going to be channeled, so hold on. Just like we were talking to our last caller, this is all your confidence level. You are completely getting the position that you want, and pretty soon you're going to be in a growing position that your career is just going to start growing. You're going to learn and you're going to move into it. This is a waiting period for you. It's just, again, holding your confidence, passing your test, knowing that you're good enough. They want you. Just stay in your confidence. You don't have to do anything at this point. You could do some visualization, picture yourself in your chair. You could do scripting, writing down, I am as in the present, and just get ready for your change because it's coming. So at this point, just get ready for your big change that's coming, whether that's just, maybe I'll clean my closet out because I'm going to be so busy soon, so I have some time now. Let me organize this. Just getting prepared for when it is that you make this change because it's already in the energy to happen. You already have this job coming to you. You're already getting this position. It's the hold up on their end. They're moving things around and they have other things before they have to bring you in and train you and do that. And that's not open in their area yet. It has nothing to do with you because they want you. It's just they're trying to get the spot open so they can fit a new person in at this time. So it's not that they're just like blowing you off or it hasn't happened. It's just that the timing isn't right. But this is definitely going to happen. So what you have to do is just get ready for it. And you could, you don't wait too long. You want to send an email or a text or whatever and just say, hey, I'm very excited, just wondering, however you want to state it, just letting them know that you're still out there. You could do that. But again, the energy is already happening. What you have to do is just start preparing for it. Act as if you have it because it's already coming, okay?
Okay.
So, do you want some clarification on that?
Yeah, I think I understand. I was going to send a text tomorrow, actually, so you think that's a good idea?
When's the last written text you heard, the last information, like the last feedback?
Like the beginning of March, I think it was. Or
like the first week in March?
Sorry, it was February, February.
The beginning of February?
Like the middle of February.
Okay. So, yes, you could send a written communication that says, I'm very interested in the opportunity, and to say I'm very interested in the opportunity, and I was wondering if there was a timeline on when you were hiring your new stylist or something like that.
Okay.
Just let them know you're very interested in the possibility of having this opportunity. I wanted to see when you were making your decision on your stylist. That's it. Let them know you're excited about the possibility. You really hope that this happens, and what if they have some type of timeline, and just keep it open. But again, you will be moving into a new position. I wouldn't stress about it. It's just when this is going to happen. That's all.
Right.
But it will. So and send that in confidence. Again, not with shaky hands. Just like you sent the first one that got you the interview. You just send it in confidence, like, of course you want me. Just act as if, like, of course you need me. That's it. When you want to talk it. It's just having that confidence in yourself. This is your test. This is one of your tests. You know that. Having the confidence in yourself. You know that so well. So you send it with confidence, because that's the only thing that's lacking here in the energy, is putting that confidence in the energy to know that you have it. That's all it is. Just getting your confidence and knowing and acting as if you have it, and start preparing. Again, if that just means that, let me clean out my closet, let me get some new clothes because I'll be needing them, let me do this. Just start preparing for your new position. That's all.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. That sounds good.
Thank you so much for calling in, Rena, and of course, we'll keep me updated, okay?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Gina. Thank you.
Thank you, Rena. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to take my last caller number 5.
Carol, you're live on the air with Dr. Gina.
Hey, Gina. It's Carol. How are you?
Hi, Carol. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it.
Oh,
Thank
I'm so
you.
Happy. I always love calling in. And I have to tell you, my background is in pediatrics with my nursing, so your topic was really, I loved it. And you're so knowledgeable with everything you were talking about.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And it's so funny because my oldest son, when he was little, they were really so like hyperactive and stuff, and were constantly trying to get me to get him on medications, and I just flat out refused. And I find sometimes too that especially with certain schools, I think when you have kids that seem to excel, when you have a child that doesn't, it makes that child seem so much worse. So you always, I think, have to be really, really aware of that. Like, for people that are listening, like, kind of look at the whole situation too. Like, is it that your child really isn't doing as well as, is he not meeting the bar of what the teacher's expectation is based on all the other kids in the class, versus really having a problem?
Yes, because they compare them to, the masses, and you might have that special child. You're so right. That's it. Just because your child doesn't fit into that school, you have a special child that's going to excel somewhere else. Yes.
Yeah, and it's funny, too. I know even in the school district that my kids were in, they get these Blue Ribbon Awards. But what I thought was interesting is both of my boys had, not learning disabilities, but kind of, I guess really they did have learning disabilities and needed the extra help, and they were always asked to not be a part of the testing. So I always felt those results were really never valid results when they would get these blue ribbons. I was like, that's a bunch of bull crap. But anyway, so I have, my 5 grandkids. I have 2-year-old twins, and then one going on 13, a 10-year-old, and an 8-year-old. And the 8-year-old is very, very.
Wait,
I'm like
one second, Carol. Just say your first name and spell it out loud, so I can have a spirit permission.
Sure.
Okay.
Carol, Carol.
Okay, now go ahead, continue.
So my little 8-year-old is she just started therapy, but she gets very, very anxious all the time, and she's always worried that her mom's going to die, and she doesn't want to be away from her mom, and it's just like I'm concerned about her. And she also is my little one that will say that she talks to dead people too.
Okay, I'm going to channel this information so I can talk to Spirit. Can you give me her first name, please?
It's Olivia.
Okay, 1 second. Just let me go on to Spirit for a second. So let me see. I need to scribble this down because this is going to be a little deep question. Olivia. Okay. So before I channel, I just want, this is something I need to put out there because Spirit's telling me this universally for anyone that's listening. If you have a child, and I didn't get into this so much, but I will next time, but just quickly. If you have a child, like you just explained, Olivia, that has a fear of their mother or father or parent, whoever, dying, or they have a fear of being alone or a fear of the dark, this is a huge sign that your child does have, she could be an empath, he or she could be an empath, and they have special, this goes beyond sensory dysfunction. It's actually a super sensory dysfunction, empathic child, and she's in touch with her spiritual side and her soul. So anyway, so I wanted to just get that out there before I channel Carol's question. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so yes, here's the thing with Olivia. When she talks about so much, I have fear, mommy's not going to be here, I fear, because she knows what the other side's like. She understands death. She understands it. She sees it. She feels it. She's empathic. She understands that people leave, people go. And that's where her fear comes. She doesn't want to be left alone, and she's so afraid of that being alone because she's alone here. She's one of those souls that come to earth and she misses home. She feels alone already. So her connection to her mom is what she considers home because she already has this missing part because she understands now that her soul understands that something is different. She's confused. I just left my big, beautiful home and with all my loving spirits around me, I'm here, and the only thing that I'm attached to now is my mother because I have had a soul connection with my mother in the past life, and if I lose her, I have nothing. It's all I have, and it continues to be a fear because as a soul, as she has this empathic ability, she remembers the past life. She remembers where she came from. And the only, again, connection she has is if I lose her, I lose everything because I've already lost so much by coming to this earth. I'm so scared already, and this is all I have. Okay. So does that make sense for you?
Yeah, it does. And she gets, really angry at times, and I think the anger is her frustration.
So here's another thing. Again, this is going out to everyone before I channel this. If you find your child gets angry or has mood swings or anything like that, it's just their little souls trying to adjust to this world because they're still connected to the other world, and they're getting frustrated with the fact that they're here in this 3D, and they're trying to adjust because they remember their other lives. They remember being spiritual, and now they're stuck down here, so their frustration comes with trying to adjust to be human. Okay?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So she's going through that because she's still very spiritually connected. And so it's going to be hard. She's a special child. She comes here in this world with these special abilities. So it's making it difficult. So you see her, quote, unquote, acting out. But it's her little soul, her little spirit that's trying to adjust to be human when she just left all that she could be.
Okay.
So, just be patient with her because she's just trying to learn how to live in this earth and play this game of life.
Okay.
And she's remembering who she was at an early age, and that happens to special children. Some people don't even remember it their whole lives. They're fillers. Some people remember it when they go through a spiritual awakening, a dark night of the soul, which might not happen until a tragedy happens older in life. Some children like her are already come here knowing, and she's trying to forget. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to continue to foster her and, just reassure her that there's love and she's here and she can, mommy's here and grandmom's here and your family's here and we're here with you for always. We're always going to be here. Just keep letting her know so she can get used to just being here on this earth and just getting her used to what this life is like. And, we have your pets and we have your animals and everyone's here to love you here, just like, you don't have to say this, but just like they do where you came from. We're all here to love you. Just keep letting her be reassured of love. Okay.
Yep.
All right. That was a great question.
Gina.
Thank you for throwing in with that. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Carol.
You're welcome.
Thanks
and
for
great topic.
Thanks,
Gina.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. I'm going to take one extra caller tonight because this happens to be somebody that I really know. So I'm going to take this caller. It'll be caller number 6 tonight.
Hi, Perry. You're live on the air with Dr. Gina.
Gina!
Thank you, Perry. I'm giving you a special number 6. We usually cut off at 5.
I know, because you love me.
That's why.
Thanks for taking me.
So I'm going to give you your question. So just say your first name, Perry, and spell it out loud for Spirit to have permission.
Perry, P-A-R-I.
Okay, Perry. So give me your question, and I'm going to channel this answer for you. So go ahead.
It was, I mentioned it to you before about that guy, the one I sent you a picture of with his, crazy face. And I just kind of wanted to know where are things at with me and him. It was really negative the last couple times I interacted with him. But then I decided to come with, a energy of compassion and forgiveness. And I feel like the energy has changed between us, but I'm not too sure. And I'm going to have to see him again soon. So I just kind of wanted to know, what his intentions are or what his thoughts are about me.
Okay. Hold on for a second. Sometimes I ask their name, but to spell it out loud for the guy, but I don't need that right now because I actually know. So hold on. So here's the thing with him. So he's almost like playing a cat and mouse game with you, and he's getting off on the energy of it. Here I am. Oh, I'm coming back here. He's playing the energy of the game, but you're also playing into it. You're giving him the cat and mouse. When he pulls back, your energy's like, oh my God, let me go forward. So you have to just let it go, let the energy of the cat and mouse game go, because that is what he wants. He wants this pull back. So you need to just be right now things are good, so the energy is good, and he's definitely at a place where he wants to actually chase you now, you see, and he's coming towards you. So at this point in the energy, just keep it where it is. Don't say to yourself, oh, is it going to change? It's this and that, because then you give him the energy where he's going to pull it back. So you just need to be confident in the fact that, okay, he's coming closer now, and that's good. So I'm just going to go with how the energy is right now. Let him come towards me. Let him chase me, you see. That's it, because he's going to come towards you, and now it's his time to find you. But also know that he is a game player, so he's going to pull back and forth, and this will be a back and forth game from him. So this is where you have to take your power, and you got to just be if you want to come after me, I'm here, but I'm not going to be chasing you if you pull back, and that's it. And you just got to get it in your mind that if he pulls back again, you're not chasing. Let him come to you. You'll be nice. You'll be a good person, but you're not going to go chase him to pull back where it is. But let him keep coming towards you, okay?
So when he contacts me or whatever, what should I do in those aspects? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so say he texts you or something, right?
Right.
And he says, hey, what's going on? You can be nice and stuff like that. You can be cordial, but don't say, when are we going to hang out? Let him take the lead. Let him do the chasing. You know what I mean? Let him make the move. Let him. I don't say, everyone gets a different answer. So this isn't a universal answer, because sometimes it's text, and I say that to persons. But in this case, this is your special answer. And that is, do not text him first. Do not chase him. Let him text you. You can answer his text. You can respond. You can be nice. You can't ask to hang out. Let him take the lead in every situation. And if he does not, then you sit back, and if you're not going to get him, you're going to get someone better. But do not ever change this role right now. Let him continue to be the one to chase. Let him ask for what it is. You take that role back and you push it back, you're going to keep pushing him the other way. Okay?
I see. Yes. Thanks, Gina.
So, all right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's nice to hear your voice, and thank you for calling in. I very much appreciate it. Thank you, Perry. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, everybody that called in tonight, all the callers. When you call in, it not only helps you, but it helps a lot of listeners out there. So some people I hear, I have a question, but I'm afraid to call in. Don't be afraid to call in. Please call in because, again, it helps everybody, and I also appreciate it, and I love talking to Spirit, so it gives me a chance to talk to Spirit, and I love talking to your dead relatives, too, and I don't get to do that much on this show, but I do it a lot with my clients, and I do it a lot at galleries, and this time it's a lot of channel, and you got to hear a lot from Dr. Gina and myself tonight, so I hope you all enjoyed that show. Follow us again in social media. If you want to hear, if there's certain topics that you want me to look into, just, mention it on my Instagram, mention it on Girls vs. Ghost Media, and just, feedback is always great. I very much appreciate it, even if it's something that's not, nice, because I like constructive criticism. I'm not perfect. I'm growing. I'm on this journey with you. So I'm open to all feedback. I really like it, and I appreciate it. So I hope that you can all do that. So I want to talk about on June 22nd, you can follow me on social media. We're having a big psychic fair, and some of the other Girls versus Ghosts people are going to be there. It's with Weird Weekends, and we will be doing a huge psychic gallery. It's going to be super cool. This Friday, I'm also on Paranormal Buzz Chat. You can find that on my social media as well. And I'm also going to be in Salem, Massachusetts on the beginning, April 6th, and I'm going to be at in Salem, Mass, and we're having a big show. It's going to be a big show and a big day there, so you can follow me again on social media to find out about that, and that's also with Weird Weekends. Again, follow Girls vs. Ghost Media and find out about all of our shows. And some of my favorite things to follow, because I believe in gratitude, and trust me, through this journey, and I've been an ungrateful, B-I-T-C-H, many times in my life, and as ungrateful as I was and self-serving and deserving and all these rotten things that I've been through for my journey, I realized that you really need to be grateful for what it is you have, like even if it's just your meal, your cup of coffee, because you don't know when that could be taken away from you. It can be taken away, and you won't have that special meal or even be able to go to Starbucks. So be grateful, and I like to give back. And a couple of the things that are really dear to my heart, if you know me, I'm a big, big animal lover. So I love Fight for Them. It's a dog rescue in New York, and I also like it because they're actually a fight team, and, they're in the martial arts, which I am. So it's Fight for Them, and they are in New York City. I also love Little Wanderers. They save all the little cats in New York City and all around, and it's just amazing. I follow them on social media, but it's always good to give back to some charity, or even if you can't volunteer, you can't give money, just reposting their things and just following things that are near to your heart, because we're all in this world together, so we need to uplift and help each other. And just, give and receive love. I always talk about that, and that's what uplifts us as a society. And again, I'm not big on society rules and everything, but I am on uplifting. So thank you all who listen to the show or who's listening to the replay. Thank you for all my listeners and callers. And again, thank you for Charlotte, who's the most amazing producer. She has a lot of cool things happening. Follow her on Girls vs. Ghost Media. She has a lot of new projects, and she's our producer on all these shows, and we love her. And Heather, who's doing all of our social media, and Beth, who is an amazing, amazing co-host with Charlotte. So just follow us all, and thank you all for listening to our show, and have a good night. Bye.